Chapter 5. The police car hangs with us for 2 blocks as we come up on the intersection at Euclid Heights Road. Not once does the cop look over at us, but I start to feel paranoid that he is toying with us, that he knows our car is stolen and he will not allow us into the right lane so we can turn and ditch the car. Go left at the light, I say. Randall veers into the turning lane, an unsignaled change that must surely appear guilty. The cop stays in his lane. We get a turn arrow. I glimpse the cop in my side mirror as our car bumps over the railroad tracks, heading south on Euclid Heights Road. He is just waiting for his green, eyes straight ahead. I tell Randall to turn right at the first light, then right again at Model Street. We recross the tracks, cross Southeast Highway again, and pass into the neighborhood where I live. We come to a 4-way stop at Model and Collier. A municipal free parking garage in the next block is a perfect place to drop the car. I relax a little, take a big bite out of the apple. But then a police car, not the same one, a woman is driving, comes to a stop going west on Collier. She glances our way like a driver will gauge the next move of another driver, and then her glance changes from mild curiosity to recognition to excitement. "Turn right," I hiss at Randall. "Right!" He turns and we go past the cop car, my eyes meeting the officer's, her mouth opening to begin to form a word, maybe halt. "Shit," Randall says, "we're made." As we speed east down Collier, catching the very tail end of a yellow light to get across Euclid Heights Road, the cop's reverse lights flick white as she backs into an alley to turn around. "If I don't exist, I can't go to prison," Penny says, right? Randall has us up to 60 as we fly past Kurt's house, and I wonder for a moment if he has told Colleen yet about Venezuela. The squad car arrives effortlessly on our tail, close enough to see the cop on the radio, marshalling her forces, tightening the noose. "Shit," Randall shrieks. "Where are we going?" My plan is to return the car. We're only a few blocks from Clover Street. All might be forgiven. I'm already viewed as the town nutcase. No one has been hurt. "Yay!" Randall screams. A second police car traveling south on Cottonwood slices into the intersection in an attempt to cut us off. Randall jerks the wheel and we miss him, but the cop catches our bumper and spins us in a half circle. The 180 takes place in cliché slow motion. We end up pointed back west. We're doing almost 80 when we pass Kurt's house again. The cop who hit us is on our tail like a decal. One of his headlights is out. The female officer is still back there too, but letting the guy endanger the pedestrians with his pursuit. A third squad car tries to cut us off at Collier and Model. Randall twitches the wheel and avoids it, but the one-eyed cop car behind us hits it square. The T-bone squad jumps in my side mirror. "Ow!" Randall howls, laughing like a maniac. We semi-lose the female officer when she has to slow down to pick her way delicately through her colleague's wreckage in the intersection. Collier meets Southeast Highway at an angle. Another train is disgorging passengers. In the gap between the rail cars, I see 2 police squads stuck on the far side of the tracks, frustrated in their pursuit of us. We are the only show in town at the moment for the Euclid Heights police. Randall drives northwest on the highway. We have green lights to the foreseeable horizon because the road parallels the tracks, and all cross traffic waits on the train. It has the disadvantage of taking us farther from home. I tell Randall to turn off the highway first chance he gets. He takes a right on Hahn. He turns right again on Kemp Street, which heads back toward downtown, parallel to Collier, but 3 blocks north of it. "Pull over," Penny says. Randall slows down. I check behind us. We are rolling up on an intersection. "We lost them," Penny whispers. "We should walk away." Kemp is lined with older homes. A man in a blazer, smoking a cigar, stands on a porch talking on a cell phone. We creep into the next block and pull over. Randall cracks his window. Train gate bells sound in the distance. I strain to hear sirens. "Let's just walk away," Penny says again. Randall sets the parking brake and is about to turn off the engine when a supernova of light explodes behind us. An amplified voice, a woman's voice, a bit high-pitched and nervous, commands us, "Don't move! You're under arrest! Show me your hands!" At the far end of the block, a second squad car turns the corner and comes toward us, its high beams stark as our futures. "Dude," Randall says. "Daddy," Penny says. In the houses along the street, the curious have come to their windows. Each house has a sidewalk leading from the front porch to the street, no driveways. We are in a part of town that still has alleys running between the facing backyards. Up ahead is a north-south alley access road. I pointed out, "Can you beat them to that?" Randall releases the brake. A third cop car blocks the far end of the street. A woman in hair rollers nurses an infant in the window of the house to our right. Randall puts the car into drive. The pass-through reverse tips the cop behind us. "Don't move," comes the amplified voice. We leap forward, straight into the blinding oncoming glare of the second car. 10 feet from the access road, Randall turns on our lights, hits the brights, maybe hoping it might cause the cop to hesitate an instant. Maybe it does. Randall jerks the wheel to the right, up onto the curb, onto the parkway grass, our rear end slewing helpfully left so we are lined up for the turn into the narrow passageway when it comes. The approaching cop car hits our left rear corner, knocking us off center so that we take out 3 or 4 wooden slats in the fence to our right. It raises a clatter like a kid with a stick, just walking along, enjoying the noise. The police cars fall in dutifully on our tail. The way is so narrow there is only a hand width of space to either side of the car. We knock leaves loose from overhanging branches. A discarded hobby horse, a water-spotted plasma TV carton, and dog turds pour back in our wake. We speed across the alley. I expect more cops at every juncture. They are waiting at the next street to the south, but they are not yet in position. They hesitate, as if unsure of the protocol, of who will give up their car to stop us, who will cut into the line of pursuers. That moment's gap in their purpose is what we race through, bumping across the street and back into the access road, delaying the inevitable. Randall's face is disconcertingly calm, like being chased by the cops' old hat. Penny, when I look at her, is staring at me. "Does this feel familiar to you?" she asks. "Don't say it," I warn. Randall hears something in our tone that interests him. "Don't say what?" Our front end bottoms out, crossing the next street, and a lone, hardy spark comes up over the nose of the car and dies along the hood. Suddenly we are in my neighborhood. Commercial waste receptacles take the place of residential garbage barrels. We pass through an aromatic cloud of Chinese food odors that makes me hungry, and I lean over and jab the horn to warn pedestrians on Collier Street that we are coming through. We blow out of the alley. No traffic in either direction, fortunately. "Drop me here," Penny says. Standing at the bottom of the stairway up to our apartment are Lee and Colleen. They both catch my eye as I hurtle past, and I'm puzzled because Lee is the one who appears to have been crying when I would have expected it to be Colleen. Then we are deep into the next alley. We get a whiff of bennies. And in that moment, someone wearing an apron tosses out a pot of water, timed perfectly to splash across our windshield, momentarily blinding us, like the smallest, most specific thunderstorm ever. Randall flicks the wipers once, lays on the horn, flashes his lights, trying to warn the traffic on Southeast Highway of our impending arrival. We fly out of the alley mouth and across the empty sidewalk, between 2 parked cars and into the highway traffic. Randall yanks the wheel hard to the left. We skid to a stop between panic-braking cars and an empty pace bus blowing its mournful horn. We have missed hitting anything, but I watch behind us for the lashing tail of police cars, certain they won't be as lucky. I wish I could warn all the outraged and finger-flipping drivers around me that there is much worse to come. "Go," I say. Randall floors it, but by the time we reach the light at Model, no police have come out of the alley. I tell Randall to turn left. At the end of the block is the intersection where the female officer first saw us. "Something weird just happened," Randall says. "Pull over," Penny says. Randall pins me hard against the passenger side door. "What just happened?" He plucks the apple from my hand. It's unmarked except for the bruise it received upon arrival. "I saw you take a bite out of this." "Pull over," Penny yells again. He slides into a parking space halfway up the block. Penny has her door open before we stop. "Out! Get out!" she commands. Randall turns off the car, removes the universal key, and exits. He walks around the unblemished car. "That bumper got hit big time," he says. We duck into a store called Pandemonium, which apparently sells anything that has a panda motif. I want to wait by the window to see what happens next, but Penny pushes Randall and me deeper into the store. A cashier reading a magazine appears surprised to see customers. "My dad needs to use your bathroom," Penny says. No permission asked, no directions, but in her eyes I'm still her father. We go through a bamboo curtain into a back room filled with the same panda merchandise that lined the shelves in front. We keep going through a door into the alley. Kurt and I came this way earlier in the evening. The lady cop backed her car in here once. The alley ends at Collier. To the left, in the block west of Model Street, I see Colleen at the foot of our stairs, her head lifted to speak to someone. I assume it is Lee. Penny takes off in the opposite direction. "Pen, wait," I say. She stops and turns back. "Stay away from me," she says. "Sweetheart." "You're dangerous," she says. A police car, the female officer behind the wheel, glides past on Collier. Smart-ass Randall salutes her. She waves back. "She doesn't even know what happened," he says. "Because it didn't happen," Penny says. Randall jumps in the air and turns a complete circle before landing. "I traveled through time." Penny says to me, almost with disgust, "There's something about you." "Man, I am ready to go again," Randall says. "Penny," I reach for her, but she steps back with her hands up like I'm diseased. "Maybe I am. Stay away from me." She heads off down Collier. Randall is torn, Penny or me, but then he flips me the apple and wisely chooses the girl.